Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, very good morning. In this keynote, I'll run over an important initiative of the Arab League that is considered an enabling building block of the ambitious strategic roadmap we announced in 2018 in Abu Dhabi that aims to support the transformation of socio-economic systems in the Arab region. The initiative we are announcing here today is the Arab Index for Digital Economy 2020 report. However, before I talk about the index, let's begin by looking at some of the current economic data and what's happening in today's global context. There is no doubt that the outbreak of the COVID-19 crisis has reversed the trend of the global economic growth to dangerous negative levels. Taking into account the global economic losses, which is expected to outstrip the boundaries of $12 trillion, and the race of losses seem non-ending. Despite the quantifiable direct losses from this pandemic in the Arab region, which are estimated by government domains at about $200 billion, some international estimates argue that the Arab losses in fact exceed the $1 trillion figure if we took into account the losses of potential opportunities in some vital sectors such as tourism, aviation, hotels, financial services, and many other industries where consumption rates have declined sharply. So the question is, how can such data be interpreted in light of the tremendous challenges facing the Arab region, be it the decline in the oil prices to the slowdown in the world economy and its disruptive impact on local economies, in addition to other multifaceted challenges from brain drain to the lack of stability of some political systems to external threats, and the narrative goes on. There may not be a magical stick that would prevent the challenges being faced in the Arab region. However, there is a lot to learn from man's experiences that in order to face a crisis and get out of it, we must first build and possess the right knowledge that should enable us to assess and design a course of action. And we can't have this formula reversed. The current health crisis has pushed and established new constants. Many until the recent past hesitated and questioned the importance of digital transformation and the role of ICT in societies, preferring to have a watching seat rather than finding a footstep and grasping opportunities. If we read the economic data of the past 10 years, we see that the rate of growth of digital economy has exceeded the growth rates of the traditional economy by 3 or more times, which highlights the role of digital technologies in creating expansion in opportunities and building new competitive potentials that are no longer achievable by traditional means. And from this standpoint, we foresaw the importance of having an indicator to measure the growth of the digital economy in the Arab region, an indicator with which we can portray the current digital and economic situation of each Arab country, as well as highlighting the strengths, opportunities, and areas of development at both country and regional levels. This should also act as an important input for policy and decision makers in the Arab countries. The index is designed on 9 axes, as shown on the screen. These are related to needed infrastructure, institutional and governmental structures, attractive business environments, education and capacity development that all in all address key areas of sustainable development goals and priorities. Let's look at some primary findings. The most important findings of the 2020 report are the continued pioneering progress of the United Arab Emirates that kept it at the forefront of the Arab countries as it retained its position at the top of the league. And in general, the Gulf countries are still the leading stars in digital domains in the region. The report mainly classifies countries into 3 groups. The first group are called the leading countries, and these are countries that have made substantial strategic initiatives in digital transformation and have heavily invested in cutting-edge technologies and systems to support socio-economic development plans. The second group are called the digitally promising countries, and these are countries who have feasible infrastructure and as well as resources, but still require more comprehensive and inclusive plans for digital transformation. The third group included countries that lack basic technological infrastructure in terms of digital network readiness, having low rates of internet penetration and internet access at both citizen and institutional levels. These countries face abundant challenges that require not only national frameworks, but a regional collaborative model that offers a context to support these countries in terms of investment opportunities, sharing of knowledge, and building capacities. In general, from what we see and observe from the data and the report, countries in the region have no choice but to pay particular attention to the speed and intensity of change in this dynamic and chaotic world in which we live in today, and that to keep up with the changes and uncertainty in the global economy, they must be systematic and structured. This necessitates to pay attention to the fact that relying on traditional means with the belief that they will lead to positive outcomes will definitely put such plans on the other side of the road. The global system is based on innovation and agility of application. Any solution-focused approach that doesn't take these two elements into consideration will probably find itself failing in catching up with the global patterns and directions. A questioning example that comes to mind here is about the 95% neglected agriculture opportunities in the Arab countries that exceed 200 million hectares. What if we decided to activate, utilize, and invest in this sector? Will we go back to the use of axe and the hand plow, or will we use technology, robotics, and flying drones? In other words, do we still have the choice between going traditional or digital? I'll conclude here by saying that the Arab region is facing complex and accumulated challenges from the past, and that traditional approaches of policy thinking, although they might look fancy on the stage, but behind the curtains, they will keep pulling us back, resisting and slowing down our progress and gradually weaken our foundations and capabilities. So the route to facing the global challenges lies in the way we perceive and thereafter approach issues, which requires us to build awareness and capacities at the level of decisioning to understand the facts as they are. And after that, our development plan can be objectively established with futuristic vision that puts ends before means and places the quality of human life in the heart of the process and goals. And that will be our base to measure the success or shortcomings of our development plans. Thank you.